Harun, welcome. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on NewsX. Kashyap, Kash Patel, an Indian-American and loyal Trump supporter, has been nominated by President-elect Donald Trump to lead the FBI. Known for his controversial role during Trump's first term, Patel gained prominence as a senior aide to Republican Devin Nunes and played a central role in drafting the highly criticized Nunes Memo. The memo accused the FBI and Justice Department of political bias against Trump while probing Russia's alleged role in the 2016 election. This move cemented Kash Patel as a staunch adversary of what he calls the American deep state. As a former federal prosecutor and Pentagon official, he has repeatedly alleged the existence of an unelected bureaucratic elite working beyond democratic oversight to undermine conservatives. As chief of staff to the acting Secretary of Defense, Patel was accused of using back channels to Ukraine, sparking even more controversy during his tenure. Beyond his focus on internal issues, Patel has also been critical of America's adversaries, including China. He has consistently advocated for a tougher stance against Beijing's growing global influence, aligning closely with Trump's foreign policy. Kash Patel has also been vocal about the importance of nurturing greater India-America ties. While Patel's nomination has sent shockwaves to Washington, the question remains, can he actually dismantle the so-called American deep state? Joining us live at this point is Ambassador Bashpati Mukherjee, former diplomat. We also have Gautam Mukherjee, senior journalist, live with us. Pathikrit Pain, geopolitical analyst, is joining us live. Professor Madhav Nalapat, editorial director of the Sunday Guardian, is also with us live. Reactions on this story are coming in. Let's first play them out.
Need a 24/7 declassification office, whatever you want to call it. Transparency, truth, whatever, I don't care. Sits in the White House, reports directly to you, and you take incoming from the United States of America. I want JFK. I want the 9/11 files. I want this. I want that. All the FBI, and this is a tool, this is something we didn't cover. What the deep state uses the most to cover up their corruption is an illegal application of the classification system. The biggest problem the FBI has come out of its intel shops. I'd break that component out of it. I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops. Go chase down murderers and drug dealers.
We have now the three adversaries of the United States of America in Iran, Russia, and China aligning themselves together with our key partners in the Middle East and Saudi Arabia, because we have left a diplomatic and negotiating vacuum since Joe Biden took office. And now it is being filled across the board, not just on a national security and economic front, but on a handshake front. And the arbiter of the entire process is Xi Jinping and the CCP. Our number one adversary is in bed with our number one physical national security threat, Iran, and they are doing it together to take down America. And now they've got our number one ally in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia and company, going to bed with them.
Ambassador Bashpati Mukherjee, come in here on, of course, Kash Patel's nomination. We were just hearing his previous statements there. What do you make of this choice?
Well, first of all, Uday, it seems that President Trump is picking up a lot of important persons of Indian origin for key posts, which is something which I welcome. Secondly, Kash Patel, as he's called Kash by his friends, is well known for his anti-deep state views. We all know the devastating impact of the American deep state recently when they organized regime change in Bangladesh. If there is somebody who's going to go after the deep state and ensure accountability, which would be in consonance with America's core national interests and the core national interests of its strategic partners like India, that is something that I would deeply welcome. He is known for his hawkish views on China, and he is also known for having expressed himself about the need to bring a speedy end to the Russia-Ukraine conflict. I have not yet been able to Google what are his views on what's happening right now in Bangladesh, but no doubt he will pronounce himself on that sooner rather than later, considering that President Trump has already pronounced himself on that issue in his Diwali message. So all in all, I think that I would very much welcome this nomination, and I hope that it gets enough votes during the confirmation process to go through. So my perspective is positive on this nomination. With it.
Okay, let me quickly, in fact, also get in Gautam Mukherjee now. Gautam Mukherjee, what do you make of this choice by President-elect Donald Trump, and what are its implications going to be?
Well, I completely agree with Ambassador Mukherjee that it's nice to see so many Indian people of Indian origin being placed in extremely important positions. Now, the FBI has been always almost like a parallel government right from the days of Hoover, who had a very long innings. The building is named after him. And, there are a lot of controversies with the FBI deciding a policy and then implementing it despite the government. That means the president, Congress, the Senate. Now, appointment after appointment that Trump is seeking to make and get confirmations for are for people who will challenge the government status quo. This is true of the CIA, it's true of the FBI, it's true of the chief of staff, the Secretary of State, and so on. So in all of this, one of the assumptions, no doubt, that Trump is making is that he controls the Senate. The Republicans do. And he expects the Republicans to fall in line solidly behind him. There are some amongst the Republicans who have reservations both about Trump, which are hard to sustain with the magnitude of his victory this time. They might have thought that he wouldn't win or he'd win narrowly. He's swept. And as a consequence, it's very difficult for his opponents within the party to actually come out in the open and try and work against him. As far as the Democrats go, they are devastated and will, of course, oppose everything that he does. But all in all, placing a critic of the FBI in charge of the FBI is a bold step typical of Trump, and we in India have every reason to welcome it. Uday.
Pathikrit Pine, let me quickly bring you in here. Kash Patel's views have been known on a host of issues. He's espoused them on multiple occasions in the past. He's also courted controversy with certain views and decisions of his. But he's been chosen for the new team of Donald Trump. What do you make of this decision?
Well, first and foremost, I agree with what Ambassador Ma'am and Gautam ji mentioned about so many Indians being taken. But they are being taken by Trump because of their expertise and knowledge, and not just because of diversity. So that is something we have to understand. And that is what is even more optimistic, and that makes us a lot more happy. If you look at the team that Trump is putting up, as Gautam ji rightly mentioned, you would see these guys apparently may look like mavericks, apparently may look like controversial, because that is the way the Western media will try to project them, and have always projected them. But they come with domain expertise. They exactly know what they want to do, and they will not be driven by the deeply entrenched bureaucracy. That is what we have to understand. And they are trying to take on the parallel shadow government, which has created chaos, not just in United States, but elsewhere across the world as well. As Gautam ji and ma'am also mentioned about the FBI, let me quote something which came out recently about the FBI director, Christopher Wray, mentioning about the Pannu issue on the allegation of certain Vikas Yadav being, involved in an attempted assassination. So this is what the FBI director says. He says that FBI will not tolerate acts of violence or other efforts to retaliate against those residing in the U.S. for exercising their constitutionally protected rights. I mean, since when, threatening the career, the national career of a country is called freedom of expression. Pannu was threatening critical infrastructure of India. an FBI director is protecting his right to do that. That is the level where Democrats took institutions like FBI to. And therefore, let me put it, we have very mature people sitting here, but you would see in many other television channels, some of them would start behaving as if, Kash Patel would work for India, Rishi Sunak worked for India. No. The optimism that we have from Kash Patel or from Trump is not that they would work for India, but they know that it is in the American interest to have a stable India. That is what we are looking for. We are not looking for them to give us a favor, but all that we want from them is to be fair. Don't do these regime change games. Don't prop up terrorists as activists for the sake of your ulterior motives. Don't keep on threatening your strategic partners with sanctions for the sake of your ulterior motive. Don't do that. And that is where even the interest of Trump administration, the interest of United States in the long run, aligns with the interest of India. Today, Trump said that he opposes the BRICS currency. Fair enough. We even don't want a BRICS currency. We have no problem with dollar as a reserve currency and using rupee for a trading currency at times. The issue is this. If you want us to have faith in dollar, then you ensure that you don't threaten us with sanctions. Then you ensure that you don't prop up terrorists as activists. Then you ensure that you do not interfere in our elections. Then you ensure that your organizations do not manipulate to create civil unrest in the country. And I have absolute faith, not just on Kash Patel, but of the Trump administration, that they know that these are the games which have created problem for United States as well, not just for the rest of the world. And that is why I think they have taken the right kind of people. For Kash Patel, what we little know about what his views are, I support him more for his views and not just for the fact that he's an Indian. He is being chosen because he comes with the domain expertise that you may say has essentially been the trait of most Indians wherever they go, because they actually excel in that. We hope that he works in the greater interest of the United States, and the best interest of the United States is to ensure that their strategic allies and strategic partners, their interests are taken care of. Back to you.
All right, let me quickly join Professor Madhav Nalapat then in at this point as well. Professor Nalapat, another member of Trump's incoming team revealed Kash Patel to occupy a very, very important chair in the new administration. What do you make of his choice and its implications ahead?
Uday, please remember, during his first term, President Trump was actively sabotaged from within the administration. He was very conservative in choosing his cabinet members. He listened largely to the establishment types who he knew. And as a consequence, frankly, they sabotaged his program and he lost the election subsequently to Joe Biden. He doesn't want to make that mistake twice. Now, can you believe it? The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, has gone public that he spoke to the Chinese saying, don't worry, we will sabotage the president if he does anything against you. Can you believe that? The chairman of the Joint Chiefs telling the Chinese that we are going to basically sabotage the commander-in-chief of the armed forces? That is the level to which that sabotage took place during the first Trump presidency. Frankly, Mark Milley is guilty of treason, high treason. Of all the people, he rings up the Chinese, and who are the main threat to the United States and to the Indo-Pacific and to India. So Trump has understood clearly that this won't do. As for Kash Patel, please understand, Uday, he's been through a vetting process. He's been chosen in sensitive national security positions, very sensitive positions. That being the case, they would have fully vetted him and checked out if he had any foreign connections, including an Indian connection, and they would have discovered he had none. And the fact is, Kash Patel came from Uganda. His parents fled Uganda and landed in the U.S. And thereafter, and that was where his parents were, not even in India. And so it's very clear he was fully vetted. It's very clear he's fully qualified. And the man is brilliant. The man is absolutely brilliant. I mean, some of his language may be a little colorful, but the man is brilliant. And I fully agree with Patikarit, with Ambassador and all that, that the US has to be understood. It has to be understood there that India is a strategic ally, an essential strategic ally, and needs to be taken care of under Prime Minister Modi, who has done so much to bring this alliance forward. And Donald Trump, of course, will understand that. There's no question about it. And I mean, if I may say so, Kash Patel is an ideal choice. I strongly support him. And as has correctly been said, he will support the interests of the United States. And those are the interests, frankly, which Donald Trump has been elected to represent. And then in the previous time, you have senior people, FBI, the military, or in the intelligence services, in the State Department, sabotaging him, actively sabotaging their own commander-in-chief, their own elected president. This is the level of treason that was reached in the first Trump presidency. And the ironic thing is, it's Trump that's been accused of treason, and some of his followers, I mean, some of them were more boisterous and they were violent and they deserve part of what they're getting. But the majority of them were patriotic Americans. And they are being called traitors and are being prosecuted by the Biden administration. It's really Alice in Wonderland. It's all topsy-turvy, and hopefully Trump will get his picks chosen. We have said in Sunday Guardian today that any Republican senator voting against Trump is going to do so at his or her peril, because Trump will get revenge on the primaries and defeat that particular senator in the primaries. So that's what we said in Sunday Guardian. These are excellent picks, whether it is the defense secretary, the commerce secretary, the new CIA chief, the new the DNI chief, and the FBI chief. Kash Patel is a brilliant picks, and if the Republican Senate does not approve them by a majority, because the majority they have, well, those senators who oppose are going to face a problem in the primaries. Knowing Donald Trump's personality, that's going to be very clear. I don't think there'll be opposition. I think it's a great team, and you'll find a great administration, and an administration that understands India and will have to work closely with it. Not because we love each other, but because and arranged marriages work a lot better, usually. I mean, pardon me for being old-fashioned, but a lot better than impulsive marriages. This is not an impulsive marriage. It's a marriage arranged on the grounds of deep, abiding mutual interests. And these interests are safe with the kind of team that Donald Trump has selected. Thank you.
Let me get in Ambassador Mukherjee once again onto the broadcast. Ambassador Mukherjee, now Kash Patel has of course spoken about his views on the black state, the deep state very, very often. The black state is what he of course would want to call it. But can he take it on? It's different speaking about it when you're not in office, but when you're in a position of power, how convinced are you that he will be able to tackle the deep state and make sure that their interests aren't fulfilled anymore in the next 4 years of the Trump presidency?
Well, as head of FBI, if he can't take on the deep state, then he's not worthy of being FBI director. I'm sure he can take on the deep state. The problem has been that the FBI has become like a government within a government for decades now, and they have often gone against the directive of the American president. That's not going to happen in this case, because Kash Patel is very close to Donald Trump. And I wanted to clarify that when I said that it's good to have so many Indians in high positions of people of Indian origin, I didn't mean that they should work for India. They should work for United States. They should work for President Trump. Those who said that Rishi Sunak is good for us were very much mistaken. I don't think Rishi Sunak was good for us at all. It all depends on whether the nominees, including those of Indian origin, take steps which are in line with American core interests and aligned to its core interests of its strategic partners, one of them being the most important strategic partner in the Indo-Pacific, that's India. We have seen many instances in the Biden administration where decisions have been taken which are completely antithetical to our core national interests. Look at what's happening in Bangladesh. Look at how we are being threatened. Look at the state of West Bengal, what's going to happen in the northeast, the chicken's neck, etc. Then you ask yourself, do you really think that this is a benign action on the part of your key strategic partner? In that case, I would question what Professor Nalapat said about arranged marriages and say that maybe an Indian arranged marriage is not such a great thing in this day and age. Maybe you need some love and affection in a marriage so that there is some stimulus in both sides keeping it together. Because for me, under the Biden administration, the strategic partnership was looking like a loveless arranged Indian marriage. So I think I wouldn't go as far as that. I think it's good if Kash Patel and others push Trump's agenda, because Trump's agenda suits India's core national interests. And that's the only reason why most of us in India were sitting with our fingers and toes crossed, hoping against hope that Trump would win and not dear Kamala, as he calls her. Uday.
Yes, Gautam Mukherjee, this fight against the American deep state, how confident are you that it will succeed in the next 4 years? And as far as these choices are concerned, are those steps in that direction?
Well, there is a very clear intent, because a lot of the appointees are definitely not status quoists. It's interesting that the incumbent FBI chief was appointed by Trump, but he seems to have slid his way into the Democratic camp and is now being replaced. He's been there for 7 years and is going to be replaced by Kash Patel. This is another thing, the democratic way is full of this kind of subversion of the world that that we, all of us panelists, are protesting about. We are finding that America says one thing officially and does another thing unofficially. Just now Ramaswamy pointed out how Biden has helped Pakistan at the time of leaving. There is this tradition in America to muddy the waters, create obstacles for the new president in this handover period of a month or two, so that the person cannot get off the starting gate with the kind of vigor that he would like. But Trump has been there once, has lost, has come back like the phoenix, and he knows what is involved, and I think he's going to go for it very, very strongly. The deep state will be affected if he manages to stop these two wars. If he manages to stop these two wars, it'll have such an impact on the deep state and their finances that it'll take them some time to recover, at least during his term in office. It is unlikely. As far as the success of the FBI in becoming what Kash Patel wants it to be, which is basically a law and order thing for the United States interior, because the CIA is meant to be the dirty tricks department internationally. Even there, I think a lot is being done to avoid speaking out of both sides of the mouth, which is a democratic tradition. That means they're friends of ours and they're attacking us simultaneously by using the deep state. This may stop, and they will attack the people that need attacking and try to consolidate their relationships with their allies and strategic partners. Uday.
All right. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us. We've run out of time. Let's take a short break. Much more on the other side.